What is a British Kashmiri identity?
It is primarily a political identity, and it is political identity because people who come from Kashmir, they have a very clearly defined boundaries which identify Kashmir, that these boundaries are the boundaries of state of Jammu Kashmir. When there was British colonial rule in India, and British colonial administration was divided in two setups. One was British India and one was Princely India. And of course Kashmir was part of Princely India.
Your organization, Kashmir National Identity Campaign, KNIC, is campaigning to be recognized in Census 2011. So can you explain what you're doing? And
yes.
How you are succeeding?
Yes, this campaign was started around 1997 by Kashmiri Workers Association. Initially, it was initiative of KWA because there was long debates within KWA that what are the issues which people are facing here in Britain, the people of Kashmiri origin. And this one of the sort of finding was that people who their rights within the civil society and the wider state institutions, the rights which are actually now have become routine and are taken for granted for other communities, are still not available to Kashmiris. That their language is not recognized, their history is not recognized, their heritage is not recognized because they are not recognized as an ethnic group. So they are lumped under Pakistani identity. Therefore, our history, our culture, our language, our issues and our disadvantage, disparities, all that is hidden. So what we need to do, we need to write to all the politicians. And so the campaign was started with letters to all the MPs, explaining this situation to them, that this is the huge community that is hidden and the community is suffering in a lot of areas, and nobody knows about that. That's how it was started. And of course then we got support from various MPs and everything, but national census at that time eventually said they cannot include Kashmiri category, Kashmiri tick box, but they will calculate if people use the tick box for other and write in Kashmiri, then they will use it. They will calculate the statistics. And now, and obviously we continued the campaign after the census with local authorities, and there are about 13-14 local authorities now across Britain that recognize Kashmiris as distinct community, along with the Indians and Pakistanis and Bangladeshis and other ethnic minority communities. And with the national census, we are asking national census to include Kashmiris as a separate category, as a category on its own right, because that is very, very crucial for national census and all the relevant institutions to have accurate data about Kashmiri community and their socio-economic conditions and socio-economic issues, and what contribution they are making and what deprivation they are facing. So all that is basically to do with people living here in Britain. The people, because of the situation in South Asia, people are suffering in Britain, and Kashmiri's suffering or Kashmiri's deprivation or Kashmiri's disadvantage is not only of that community, it affects the wider society. So it is not Kashmiri's issue, it's the issue of
But can you explain how much you have succeeded?
How much? In terms of success, we have managed to achieve recognition in local authorities. But with national census, I think we are at a stage where they have agreed that yes, there is a need for this community. There is certainly, they have now accepted that this community exists. There is a significant number of people in Britain who are generally perceived as Pakistani or Kashmiris. That realization has been sort of made. Now the next step is they want to be clear. They want to make sure that it does not affect the quality of data they collect through census. So that is why they want to do further tests. So if through those tests, if people give them the message that yes, we are a different community, then they will recognize and include them as a category. And if they're not, or if obviously there's a political side to it as well. And our next step, our next stage is to lobby to the politicians that this community needs to be recognized, and when it is debated in House of Parliament about the categories in next census, Kashmiri inclusion should be part of that debate, and Kashmiri should be included. That should be taken as a priority issue, because there are so many constituencies where Kashmiris are majority, and politicians know that. They know that these people come from Mirpur, and Mirpur is not part of Pakistan. That is part of Kashmir. So,
identity is not recognized as a Kashmiri, and they're recognized as a Pakistani. How they are affecting?
Yeah.
With economically, linguistically, politically,
yeah,
economically.
Linguistically, because their identity was not recognized, so their language was not recognized, and it was generally presumed by a lot of service providers that because they are Pakistani, so their language is Urdu. Then at one point, the Punjabis, who are quite influenced, Punjabis from East Punjab and Pakistanis from West Punjab, Punjabis, they then obviously the Punjabi language was then got recognized, and so it was seen that that's it. So there's two languages, Urdu and Punjabi. But of course, people did not know, or they didn't understand, or they didn't have enough information to understand that majority people who are here classified as Pakistanis, their mother tongue is Pahari, Mirpuri. So that was a big disadvantage for this community, because their issues and wherever they needed interpreting translation services, they were deprived without knowledge of any agencies that what is going on here. And recently that has been now identified and realized. It is still not addressed, but there is a realization now that this huge linguistic group is not recognized, not visible. So that is linguistic. Politically, again, like I said earlier, because they are occupied there, here again, because Pakistani, particularly who come from a middle class urban background, in Britain, they had more access to British corridors of decision making. Majority of Kashmiris worked in mills and textile factories when they came over. So only their second generation then started to have some access to the decision making positions. So it was middle class Pakistanis who made decisions about Kashmiris. And because they saw Kashmiris as part of Pakistan, therefore they never realized, or they deliberately didn't want Kashmiris to have access to these services and distinct identity. So therefore they claimed that they are representing Kashmiris, whereas we know from within community that there was a lot of controversies and conflicts between Kashmiris and Pakistanis on the issue of representation. But those issues were never raised within the British, you can say, government circle.
But why it was ignored, and what is the role of UK, India and Pakistan in this situation?
With the British state, British government, they still to some extent see the issues relevant to South Asia through colonial eyes. They still see that our studies they carried out during colonialism were, that's where they get their, sort of information for policy making. And also the researches that was done by different sociologists and, different social scientists, after late 50s onwards, they also tried to understand the British population of Pakistani origin through Pakistani official lenses, and they couldn't see beyond Islamabad. Whenever they managed to see, some of them, for example Rajal Barad, when they went to Dadial and all those areas, they, being anthropologists, they just couldn't understand the political relationship. So they also tried to understand people through their brotherly system and their family system and all that. And they then fed to the British policy making mechanism, and decided that they are essentially Punjabis, because Roger Ballard would say, oh, they are essentially Punjabis. But now he started realizing that no, necessarily they're not Punjabis. Then he say they are Patwadis. Yeah? Because he himself trying to understand, he does not have enough understanding and knowledge of that part of the world. So 6 months you staying in somewhere, you don't become expert on that, but because other people don't know that, so he is an expert. So British government will take him as an expert. So therefore, but their knowledge is increasing, and now they are realizing that no, it is not just because there is a brotherly or there is a language similarity that people are same. So differences now are being sort of recognized and realized. The role of Pakistanis and Indian is that it's a political. If you look at, for example, Pakistani Worker Association, Indian Worker Association, and the left of the politics, Indians and Pakistani, they recognized Kashmiris long time ago. There was no problem. Kashmiri Worker Association came out of Pakistani Worker Association. Pakistani Worker Association came out of Indian Worker Association. But they still had working relationship. There were no conflict between all these three organizations. They still work together on some issues. So there is no that issue of nationalism there. But in the wider sort of population of Pakistanis and Indians, particularly the people who are in mainstream politics and all that, they still try to create that India-Pakistan situation here and see the Kashmiris as their commodity. The Kashmiri should either go with Pakistan or go with India. Why they should assert their distinct identity as Kashmiris.
If we win this campaign, after this successful campaign, so what is going to be implication of our British Kashmiri society, and economically, socially, and linguistically?
Yeah.
I mean, which kind of benefit?
I think very far-reaching and deep effects it is going to have, because like I said, language. I think is a good news that in 2011 census, Pahari will be an opportunity for people to write their language, Pahari, Mirpuri, whatever they want to write. So there will be a question about language for the first time in census. And as for their Kashmiri identity, if it is recognized, then I think the first thing is that for the first time, all service providers and policy makers, they will have some kind of figures about Kashmiris. And figures that are gathered through census, not just figures that how many people are there. It is whole range of information about that group of people. What is their housing condition? What is their education achievement? How are they doing in health? And what is the level of unemployment in that community? And how many people are in different professions? So actually, virtually, they know everything about that community, their socio-economic profiling. So that is the huge sort of benefit for the community. That for the first time, service providers and policymakers will know that this, and because this is our assumption, and we think if there is a proper research or people are included in census, everybody will know that this community is at the bottom of the sort of socio-economic ladder, even behind Bangladeshis. So because of non-recognition. So if community is recognized, I think there will be target sort of intervention. Resources will be allocated for particular areas, because inner city is deprived areas in all Britain. And we know that inner city are overrepresented by Kashmiris. But obviously the service providers and policymakers don't know that, they're not convinced, because people who they work with, who are either Pakistanis or Indians,